Hey guys, I promised you I'd show you some carb clean details once I got these apart. I went ahead and did it at work because I got a dip tank at work. If you guys don't have a shop close to you, if you're going to do your own carb clean, okay, get all the parts out, get all the jets out, poke holes in the jets with speaker strand wire, or I use K&L tools at work. Get all your jets, get a hole through them, and then soak it all, so that the solvent can get down in that hole and clean and eat everything up. If you're going to do it completely alone and you don't want to use a bike shop at all, then go to an automotive store and buy the can of carburetor cleaner that's liquid. That's $30, not the $7 aerosol spray stuff. That don't do nothing. You need the $30 can that's caustic. It's in like an old style paint can, and you need a flat blade screwdriver to open the top of it, and then you dip your carburetors. You know, you just take your carburetors and dip them down in there. With an Ninja 250, it's nice because if memory serves me correctly, with only having 2 carburetors, you can fit them both in one can at the same time. But if you're doing a bank of 4 on a sport bike, you know, FZRs, CBRs, you know, anything where you got 4 carburetors lined up, you do 2 and then turn it over to the other 2, whatever. But I just took them to work and dip tanked them, and that's what I recommend you guys do. You know, yeah, I work at a bike shop, that's fine, but you know, you all have one near where you live. Just get all the jets out. Here's your main jet tower. See where that hole's clear through it? I'm hoping at some point you can see daylight through that. I don't know what the camera's doing. Here's your little tiny pilot jet. Look how small that little mama is. And that goes in that little hole right there. Okay. Here's your main jet tower. See the threads in there? Go like that. Okay, that goes in there. This little pilot jet came out of there. Remember that $65 screwdriver I told you about? I brought it home from work to show you guys this. That tip fits the end of that jet exactly. See that? It exactly fits it. And it's a very hardened tip. And that's why this one little snap-on screwdriver cost me $65. But if you're going to do this for a living and you can't be stripping people's pilot jets out, and you need to be able to get in there and get it out, you know, on the first try without damaging it, then you invest in good quality tools, and that's what you got to have. So anyway, get all your jets out. Get your main jet out. You know, you can separate it from the tower. I did when I actually, you know, when I actually do all this, I'll separate this from that and do that with your pilot. Here's your float. A lot of guys get all worked up about the discoloration there. They think it's residue. Well, it's actually a molecular change in the plastic itself. It's the same thing that happens on old dirt bike fenders, and people take razor blades to them and scrape them and then sand them to polish them clean again. I mean, if you want to, you know, go through and sand all that and then clean it real good, you can. I just get all the loose debris off of it, because when you're scraping that and it changes color, you're actually not scraping debris off, you're actually scraping off the top layer of the plastic. But here or there, I don't want to get in an argument about that, but just make sure it's good and clean and there's nothing loose going to come off of it. You see the bowls, compare that to the last video. There's no more brown in there. I already dipped the bodies and I already dipped the bowls, and you can see how much cleaner they came out. So that's how clean your bowls should look. Because look guys, here's the thing. You're spending time and money doing this work. Do you want to spend time and money and then put bowls back on that have debris and brown muck stuck to them that's just going to eventually break loose and clog your jets up again? Or do you want to clean your bowls up right and go in with bowls that look nice like that and not have any more problems and not have to do it twice? I teach my flat raters all the time. The most expensive job you'll ever do is the one you have to do twice. So get it right the first time, okay? Here is the adjuster screw for the pilot circuit. Some carburetors, this adjusts air, and then it'll be a real fat tip with a much more deep taper on it. Some carburetors have an adjustment for the fuel side of the pilot circuit, like this one. And you can identify those because they have a really sharp, really fine little needle on the end. And that's what goes in there. See how that little tower has nothing in it? And that little tower has a screw in it. That's where it goes. So there's a spring. It's hard to do with one hand. But that spring right there is what holds the adjustment. When you tighten this, that spring puts pressure against the threads so it doesn't turn by itself. That little washer on the end of the spring gives a safe place for the O-ring to live. This O-ring is actually a fuel seal. It seals gasoline from dripping down past these threads. The end of that spring has a notch on it like all springs do, and you don't want that riding on the O-ring. So you clean your needle up, which I'll do. I mean, this one's not clean. I'll clean it up. It'll be all nice and brass looking when I'm done. Clean that up. Put your spring on first. Get your washer on there. And then your O-ring last. Okay. And then that assembly like that goes in here. Again, I got to clean that one up first, but this is just instructional for right now. I dipped the bodies and all, but I haven't finished cleaning up the jets and all. But see if I can do this one-handed without moving the carb. So I'm gently going to tighten this all the way down till it just seats. And I'm just kind of feeling it along the way, making sure I don't have any thread damage or any debris in there that's causing any trouble. And when I get it all the way seated, I can feel it starting to resist a little bit. I'm compressing that spring right about there. You see my fingers. You can tell from the video I'm not cranking on this thing and applying a lot of force. You just gently touch it down. Boop, right there. That's touchdown. That's it. So that's a closed pilot circuit. That's a half turn out, full turn out, 1.5, 2 full turns out, 2.5. I like 3 on Ninja 250s. We'll get into other videos, other times, how carburetors work, how to jet them for race bikes for top end horsepower, how to jet them for street bikes for drivability. I don't have 5 hours to get into all that right now in this video, but just suffice to say, if you have stock exhaust and you're using stock airbox and nice brand new stock booties like I'm using on my airbox and nice stock carburetors, and you use stock jets on your Ninja 250 like I'm doing, these are stock size jets. A lot of people will up their pilot because of ethanol. I mean, you can. I got a friend in Virginia that's real big on doing that, and that's fine. It just means that instead of 3 turns out here, maybe you only have 1 or 1.5. But I just use the stock pilot jet size, and then I go a full 3 turns out on the mixture screw. The Japs set the mixture screw adjustments up to be around 1.5 to 2 turns out on most bikes, 1 turn out sometimes. But with ethanol, you need a little more fuel at idle. So I do commonly go to a full 3 turns out, especially on these small displacement street bike engines. So okay, now that I got to clean the jets themselves up, and I got the bodies and the bowls already clean, I'll finish doing a good job with these. And oh yeah, let's go over your float real quick. So we talked about this varnish and discoloration of debris being hooked into the top layer of this plastic. Just get all the debris off and loose stuff off. Here's your needle. This was already clean. Gary did a great job of cleaning these. These are beautiful. Nothing needs to be done there. The Viton tips are nice and smooth. That little clip goes here, and then that gets inserted in the bowl. Again, it's hard doing some of this stuff one-handed. I hope I don't drop all this in the dirt. That would frustrate me. Okay. Alright. So, you got your little float needle. It goes down in the seat. That seat needs to be spotless, which it is because I just dip tanked all this. Here's your little pin. I said earlier in a video that the Ninja 250s used a taper pin This one didn't, so maybe I was wrong. A lot of bikes do have tapered pins. You got to be real careful about jamming these hinges in there, breaking stuff, cracking these little aluminum towers off. There's really no way to fix that because it's cheap pot metal. Once you do, if you break these aluminum towers, you basically just need to go on eBay and buy some used carbs and start over. But that's what a good looking float situation should look like. Okay, so I'll pull everything back out and clean the jets real good, put the bowl back on. But I wanted to get some of that stuff apart and show you how to get it in and get it out of the vehicle and how to clean it up. So good clean stock jets, good clean stock pilot, good clean needle with a good washer spring and rubber O-ring on it. And then go a full 3 turns out on these, and with stock pipes, should sing like a little song. It should run like a sewing machine.